to meet. Shabbos, when I walked from, good morning, when I walked from home to shul on Shabbos morning, I walked a long way, relatively long way, and I chazered I used our simonim, and I chazered the 3 dafim on the wall. It only took 5 minutes, and I hope you did it too. Each to his own ability, but it's definitely doable. Like 5 minutes, really, to walk to shul is great. So I hope you did it too. I hope. You got the 3 simonim. It's not so hard, right? Laser, what's on daf base? What do you remember from daf base? What's our simon? Our simon is
bias.
What's our simon? You got our simon is a bias. What was it? What's to remind us of? Simon was it the bias of? What's in the bias? So you gotta pull away. You gotta. It's easy. I'm telling you, you'll kick yourself. You'll kick yourself. It's so easy.
That was fine.
It's a bias. It's a house. What do you say? What is it?
With an ani.
An ani?
Eating bread
and
salt, and a Kohen standing on his shoulder saying Kriya Shema.
Right, because what's on the base? What's the ani all about? What's the ani?
The ani goes into eat his bread.
Yeah, what is that doing there?
It's the time of Kriya Shema, what it's from.
Right, the whole daf base was like ani and Kohen is the same at a different time, and the Kohen standing on his shoulder is Kriya Shema because the whole first Amud is talking about the Mishnah, Kriya Shema at night, right? Nighttime. And the second, so you do that in your head, and I'm telling you, if you do it, you'll hold it. It's not hard. It's kedai. And the second daf Gimel, is
3 camels.
3 camels
in a ruin.
In a ruin. First camel holding
the dove and the lion.
Dove and a lion and the dove.
Lion and the dove. Okay.
Second.
It's
right.
Eliyahu.
And the third
David
Melech. Because to remind us, 3 camels. We said lots of 3s on the Amud. You can think whatever you want of them, but we'll say some of them. So, for example, start out by saying there were 3 samanim of the donkey and the dogs and the Isham Sefer Bala. And we said that the Hashem cries out 3 times. It's many 3s. In a churva, because in both amudim, on the bottom of Amud Aleph, we talked about Eliyahu waiting for Rabbi Yossi out of the churva, and then at the beginning of the base, Amud base, I should say, we had the reason not to go inside the churva, 3 reasons again not to go in the churva. Then we said the lion, the dove, because what's the lion? Hashem cries out like a lion 3 times again. That's what
cries out like a dove.
Right, and then the second part of Yosef, and then Hemeskayona like a dove, and then Eliyahu Navi, because he stood by Rabbi Yossi, he told him about the churva, and then David and Melech, we got to talk about David and Melech, Tzidkus at midnight, right? So, and then Daf Daled.
This is
a door. So our door is spanning from where to where?
From the kotel.
From the kotel from Geula to the kotel. Because of your Somach, Geula, Tefila, sitting on top of the
standing on top with the payas.
David Melech standing on top of the payas with the fake chassid uniform. Because again, the second number was doing some of Geula Tefila, which we talked about yesterday. And David Melech, the first number was Eino Chassid, not Chassid, we discussed. So if you do that, I'm telling you, you have like you could be able to be walking table of contents, which is great because you'll remember, even if you don't remember like the 2 reasons why David Melech said he was an chassid, but you'll be able to think, oh, David Melech where was he? Pretending like a chassid? Oh, on the door, David. You'll be able to find it. It's a tremendous resource. And I'm telling you, if you chazer it, like, okay, perhaps I know the Gemorah is better than you because I'm going to invest some more time into it. So I was actually able to think through the whole Amud, I could even, if you ask the question, but how do we get onto Eliyahu Navi? And then you can like reconstruct the whole daf, or much of the daf in your head. Very, very powerful. And so easy, really. Don't, it's a total giving. Do it on your walk to and from Shir, I'm telling you. It's not hard. It's not hard. It takes effort, but it's not hard. There's a difference. Some things are hard. It's not hard. It just takes effort. You'll have it. So we're on the Abdallah and base at the bottom. There was a question we were rushed at the end. I don't know if you remember. I hope you didn't feel rushed, but I felt rushed at the end. And Mr. Goldstein, Chaim Howie Goldstein, asked a question, which I'll remind you of. And I said, if you remind me, I'll get back to it. Well, no one reminded me anyways, I ran out of time, so I didn't get back to it. But I would like to get to it now. It was a great question. He asked a few good questions. He just here on Thursday, but he asked a few good questions. So we had, in the discussion there, I'll remind you, we had a focus. Some welcome back. We missed you last week. I missed you last week. Second half of the week. And nice to see you this morning. Okay, so we said that there's a machlokas in Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi. The Kriya Shema, it's a bookend your day, and there's 3 tefillas in the middle. That was his shita, Rabbi Shua ben Levi shita. Rabbi Yochanan said, no, Kriya Shema comes before Shemona Esrei, Shacharit, and Maariv, and the brachas of Geula Yisrael, which are part of the Brachot Kriya Shema, are there to be able to be somach Geula Tefila. So I had this written down yesterday. It was Rabbi Yochanan. He had, I'll make it all one color today, but he basically had Shema in the morning, and then he had Shemona Esrei of Shacharis, then Shemona Esrei of Mincha, Shacharis,
Then Geula.
Mincha, and then he had the Shema of Maariv, and the Shemona Esrei of Maariv. New circles, squares, this is the difference, right? And at the end of Shema, there's always this mention of Geula, because of the bracha of Geula Yisrael. So you're still Geula. That was our mnemonic of the door from the neighbor to Geula to the Kota. So that was his issue, and we said that's the other side. The other side was Rabbi Shua ben Levi. It's a reputation of Rabbi Shua ben Levi. He said no, that the Kriya Shema was the first and the last thing you did. And here. And then you had 3 Shemona Esreis in the middle. And we said the machlokas is either based on the svara. The svara was that the geula of nighttime back in Mitzrayim. So the Geula Yisrael mentioned to the Egyptian Mitzrayim geula. So the midnight geula, so to speak. The question is that significant? Is that really a geula or not? Because on the one hand, they could have left if they wanted to, on the other hand, they didn't leave at all. So Rabbi Yochanan says, yes, they were free. They just opted to say, we're not running in the middle of the night like a bunch of thieves. We'll go out in the day when we feel like it. But they were like, it was a freedom. I'll put these words. The word there, he had words. The Gemorah uses maliyasa, which is like bona fide, like good, great. But it means like it was, I'll use the words potential and actual. I don't know if that's exactly the shot there, but it's certainly, to me, it makes intuitive sense. They were potentially free, but they still were Mitzrayim. Like, that's not, they hadn't been like fully redeemed yet. They were still sitting where they always were. They just could leave whenever they want to. So it's sort of free, but not yet free. Like they're in jail, just the door's open. They haven't left the jail yet. So he said it's good enough to be merit and justify mention the Geula of night also. Therefore, he wanted to say there's a mention at night also. Rabbi Shua ben Levi said no. His far was that's not free yet, so they're not free. So no, there's no point in mentioning Geula at all, and therefore there's no point in saying Kriya Shema the brachos like prior to the Shemona Esrei Maariv, because there's no need to mention Geula before Tefillah. That was his svara. Or they said based on a pasuk. They also the Ibo was saying with this or that. Another possibility was that Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi were arguing over the implications of the pasuk. The pasuk clearly attaches b'shach b'cha and uvukumecha together. The going to bed and getting up. So that it's called the hekesh. I think if I want to discuss hekesh now or not. I don't really want to discuss it right now. We'll get the next bleed out of the next one, the hekesh. More of a lead more fit into it, like how technical hekesh works. But the idea of the hekesh, briefly, is when two ideas in the Torah are smushed, like attached. So then the idea is that there's something similar between the two dinim. You should learn from one to the other. That's enough for now. We'll discuss hekesh more another time. Just don't get derailed on the phone here. So the thought was, well, there's something that connects the nature of the b'shach b'cha to the kumecha. What is that? So Rabbi Yochanan said, yeah, that's telling you the same way you have to put geula before tefillah in the morning, you put it at the night. They're connected, and that's the hekesh. And Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, no, the hekesh should tell you the same way. Like the first thing you do when you get out of bed is say Kriya Shema, so to the last thing you do at night before you go to bed is Kriya Shema. His words were samach l'mitaso, like it should be close to your bed. But my understanding of that is it's like, you understand the psychological impact of, like, so to speak, the first thing you do in the morning, the last thing you do at night, so to speak. Not literally first and last, but like the beginning of your day and the end of your day is with Kriya Shema being miyachet Shem Shemayim, and that's what frames your day. It's intuitive to me, and was I guess intuitive to Rabbi Shua ben Levi. So he said the pasuk of B'shach b'cha v'kumecha says the same way Kriya Shema is like first thing in the morning, close to getting out of bed, so too last thing at night. Fine. That was the sugya. the Gemorah asked, what about Hashkivenu, which is in the middle over here? Anyway, you have to go like so. And Mr. Goldstein said, what about Kaddish? So I asked that question, like Kaddish, said Hashkivenu is considered to be like
Part of
Geula Arichta Damia, it's an extension of the Geula. And I describe that as like the personal salvation is an extension of the national salvation. So it's an extension of it, it's also salvation. And the question of the Kaddish, so I said, well, the Kaddish must be similar, that the Chazal were Masak and Kaddish is considered an extension of Geula, but the very nature of Kaddish, as we said when we discussed the Yesh Rabbi, is that you're praying for redemption, right? And you're saying, Ba'galazman Karev, like, so it's a demand for redemption, and therefore our appreciation, whenever we, it's a different shmuz from another time, but if you think about it, like our deepest connection to Hashem, which is the Shemona Esrei, is really just essentially making demands. It's so strange. That's a good kasha. The Teretz, like in the one-liner, maybe one at a time, we have lots of tefillah to talk about when we get to the fourth or fifth pair, is like at the end of the day, Hashem is Hashem, and the ultimate connection to Him is realizing like who He is and who you are, and what you are is dependent upon Him, and like you need Him and want to be attached to Him, and therefore He's the one who can give you what you need. It's not gimme, it's that like ultimately the stark reality is Hashem is the source and we are the recipient, and that we want that relationship, but that's what it is. So the Kaddish that's happening right before Shemona Esrei is again, so like Hashem, not only did you redeem us back then, and I'm counting you for personal salvation with Hashkivenu, but like bring us to ultimate salvation now, and then we would launch the Shemona Esrei. That's how I answered yesterday. He had another question though, which I said, not now. It was too complicated, but I want to discuss it now because it's a very good question. This question was, wait a second, this whole thing doesn't make any sense. Because as we learned back in the base of Aleph, the Jewish day in Jewish consciousness, the Torah's consciousness, is Vayerev Vayiboker, night come before day. And therefore, Mr. Goldstein's question is, wait a second, this is what the thing should look like. This Shacharit Mincha, I didn't write it in, Maariv, right? Isn't even true. It's going to be like this. There's going to be Maariv, Shacharit, Mincha, and whatever you put over here, who knows, like, either here, Shema will be before after, I guess, right? But the point is that you're going to have, like, here for sure, in the middle is the Shema. There should have a square. Sorry. Wherever the Maariv is here, right in the middle of the thing, is the Shema. In the middle of your day, the Shema, right? Yeah. Before Shacharit. So, like, what the lush doesn't not adding up, because the lush of the Gemorah was that according to Rabbi Yeshua Levi, it's Tfilos be'emtza tiknun. I think that's the exact lush that it is. You can see yourself. It's on. It's a dog base, and it is. It's on line
26.
Line 21. B'shuvan Levi Omer, Tfilos be'emtza tiknun. Chazal established the Tfilos like in the middle, often the words of your day, middle of your day, right? And that's this, middle of your day, bookended by these Shemas. So it's not making sense. This is like the middle of your day. The beginning of your day happened over here. Somebody's not adding up. So that was his question. He didn't say it in so many words, but it's a good question. Like, how these, like, somebody's not adding up here. The middle of the day is, the beginning of the day is over here, and the end of the day is, I guess, over here after Mincha, right? But the Shema, there's no such thing as the three Shmonesh in the middle of your day. If definitely the Shema, Shachar comes after, the Kumecha comes after Maariv. It's not adding up. What gives? That was his question. It's a good question. So, to answer the question, we need to understand something like very fundamental, which is like this: that when it comes to the Avod and the Beis Hamikdash, and it's unique to there, I should point out, the day goes from morning to night, not from night to night before morning. It's strange. You see that in very few words in Tosfos in the first Amud. So remember the Gemara's opening question was Tanahecha Koi. This is like the very first line of the Gemara. It said, wait a second, like you told me about Me'emas like Kriya Shema-Tefila, like who said anything about Shema? Well, you can't start there. So we said, and it's Vesu. And second of all, this is the important part for our discussion here, like why is it doing the Shachar night before day? So the Gemara answered, we're talking about the pasuk. The pasuk is b'shach v'gomecha, so that's the night before day, and it assumes that you understand the pasuk is existing there. And we used to call that the maximalist position is coming. The pasuk is being machayv to answer, to explain the pasuk, and that's what we're doing here. The other answer was, because the Torah is always like that. Vayir ve'boker. He was saying my second teretz was, what's making us start with night before day isn't that b'shach v'chav v'komecha, because this isn't a parish. Mishnah not a parish on the Chumash. I'm not forced to address the points that it makes. The first part of the question was like how can we start with talking about the time for Kriya Shema, established Kriya Shema? That there's a pasuk. And you should know the pasuk. The pasuk exists and the Mishnah exists like coevally. It's like working in tandem with the psukim. That was the first part of the question. But as far of Tanai Chakoya, how can you start there? The second part of the question, why night before day? We said, maybe in the Igbo statement, the second teretz was. We're not coming to the far the word b'shach v'chav v'komecha, but in general, the whole Torah goes like that. The Torah goes first night, the Arab, and then day, the boker. So it stands to reason. In the Gemorah Kasha, even it said, the next Mishnah in that, a couple Mishnahs, Mishnah, the fourth Mishnah out of 5 in this parak, starts talking with the brachas of Kriya Shema, and it says the morning brachas before the night brachas. So it says, if the rule is night comes before day, so then the brachas should also be discussed first nighttime brachas before daytime brachas. That was the kasha over there. And the Gemara answered, my words were tactical and strategic. That was my thought. But the point is, the Gemara just said its own words was, we're talking about, once we were talking about Shacharit, then we explained immediately the Shacharit. We talked about other things related to Shacharit, and we went back to Maariv. So in other words, the answer then, implicit in that answer, this is how the Gemorah works out to hear of this, is you're right. If your kasha is night comes before day everywhere in the Torah, because Vayir v'boker, so then that's true. It's just that, since anyway we were talking about the morning Kriya Shema, we just finished up with those rules and with the brachos first.
If you look at any siddur that you pick up, it starts with Shacharit.
Okay, good. But that is a good point, and it's consistent with what I was saying, but I guess that wouldn't force, you could say, okay, that's because it's going in order of the day. But anyways, at this point here, I think they're connected. So, if you hear that, so even in the Gemorah's answer, it's saying, you're right. Everything in the Torah goes first night, then day. And only was this tactical issue of when we're talking about Shacharit, we'll discuss Shacharit. So, if that's the case, so what was the havmin of the Gemorah? The Gemorah asked, teach Shacharit before Erev. What kind of question is that? The answer would be, you got to talk about pink elephants first. That's asking, driving the question. What's driving the question? You have no precedent, presumably, you have no precedent anywhere else in the Torah for day to come before night. So what's the Gemorah having a kasha? I got a kasha. How can you start with night before day? What do you mean? The pasuk says the pasuk says a reis olam. So what's your problem, Gemorah? That's what the Gemorah says. What's your problem? What kind of dumb question is that? So, but it didn't say that. So that means it entertained it as being a reasonable question. So Tosfos has to come to the rescue and speaking just in very few words, like to justify the havamina, to justify what the Gemorah was thinking. And he says, like for example, by the Karbanos, because in Karbanos, it says first the Tamid Shel Shachar and then Tamid Shel Din Harbayim. So in the Karbanos, in the Avoda, day does come before night. And that's a Yesod. That's a Yesod. It comes from other places also, but that is the only place, meaning the Avoda is the only place where day comes before night. Okay, so you'll have a kasha now. Yeah, but Avoda Shmona, this is talking about Shmona Esrei. That's not a goal to the base of Mikdash. So the answer is, yes, it is. It was established to parallel the Avoda in the base of Mikdash. Your Shacharit is for your Korban Tamid Shel Shachar, and your Mincha is because you're being a Rabbi, and your Maariv is there. It's Rishus or Chov, we discussed for a moment, but it was talking about the burning of the fats and whatever in the nighttime. But the bottom line is, the Shmona Esrei is functioning just like Avoda, by the same rules, and like loosely speaking. And therefore, we're looking at them as this is the day. In terms of Avoda Shebalev is the Rambam, just this is Madgish, because there's a pasuk. So Avoda Shebalev, your service of the heart. What's it referring to? The mitzvah d'oraisa according to the Rambam of davening. But that's Avoda. So Avoda starts with Shacharit time, both in terms of the base of mitzvahs functioning, and also in terms of like your Shmona Esrei. This is plural. Right? So that's how it's looking. By the way, you see the same thing applied, the same weirdness that applies uniquely to the Avodah and the Beis Mikdash also applies uniquely and weirdly to davening in this context of kavanah. I think that's really the pitaron, that's the answer to this. In other words, like this: if you do any mitzvah in the Torah, Hashavas Aveda, and you think while you're doing it, I hate this guy, he's an idiot, and what kind of slob leaves his wallet lying around, and I wish you lose his wallet 100 times more. But the Torah says I have to do it, so here, you were climbing mitzvah like 100%. The mitzvah Hashavas Aveda, you did it. Maybe you're a bad guy, you have to work on yourself. But in terms of like your mitzvah Hashavas Aveda, you did it. What do you want? The mitzvah to return it, you returned it. There's no other. That's the mitzvah. And it's true for all mitzvahs. There's all mitzvahs. You gotta shake a lulav. It doesn't matter if you think this is the dumbest thing in the world, you're shaking a lulav. You're fully yoked to your mitzvah of lulav. You don't do it again, you don't need to do it again, you shouldn't do it again. Even if you're thinking this is dumb, but like, you're yotzi. And we don't care about your kavanas. Because the mitzvahs in general. Okay, that's all extraneous. I'm not saying that's the way to be over Hashem. I'm just saying, but the tzivui is to do stuff. And if you do it in your mind, you're grumbling. Even if your mouth, you're grumbling. You did it, what you had to do. Whatever it is, you're eating matzah and you're doing whatever you have to do.
Saying a bracha.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, so even saying a bracha, a lot of brachas is getting a little on the gray side. Let's get brachas out for a second. But any of the other mitzvahs, masios, you're wearing tefillin and tzitzis and Talmud Torah, if you do what you do, then you did your mitzvah. Mitzvahs are actions, as a general rule. Very, very, very few mitzvahs implicate your mind, and in truth, even if your mind isn't there, or you're thinking bad thoughts, it doesn't really directly undermine your fulfillment of the mitzvah. Again, don't take this far. I'm not suggesting that that's the right way to go about doing it. And we talk about how near mitzvah Torah, or like what you put into your mitzvah has significance in terms of its potency and what it does for you and everything else. And ultimately your avodah is supposed to come from Avos Hashem and V'chulei. But all that aside, the bottom line is you go to the rabbi and you say, listen, rabbi, when I sat in my sukkah, I was thinking the whole time, this stinks. I want to go back to my bedroom where it's more comfortable. Like, was my fulfillment of mitzvah of sukkah incomplete? The answer is not at all. Not at all. I don't know. Because the sukkah, maybe you can even pick, if it's that bad, you can pick that one left because you're putter. But the point is, you did your mitzvah. What you're thinking about it doesn't make a darn difference.
Unless you think, I hereby am not Makar mitzvah sukkah.
Yes, but that's fine.
Then you're not.
Yes, yes, that's right. But leave that out. That's a little different.
I would say like something like this: you're in your sukkah and you're talking lashon hara. So once you kayem the mitzvah sukkah and you're over on the mitzvah.
But your thought do not mess up your sukkah fulfillment. Indeed, if you make a time not yotzi, then you're not yotzi. But leave that out.
Yeah.
Right? That's a different point. But it's not true by avoda. By the karbanos, there's a whole set of rules, like like pigel and that kind of stuff. So you can be mefagel the korban, or you can just mefasel. You can postle it. You can just if you think when you're making the korban, I'm gonna eat this korban at the wrong time or off at the wrong time. Even if you don't carry it out, you just think for a second. You know what? I'll save some meat for next Tuesday when I have guests coming.
Party, right.
So then the thing is ruined. Just because you had that bad thought for a second. Well, the Kohen had a bad thought even the Kohen had a bad thought for a second. No getting it back again. Doesn't matter if you carry out your thought. If the thought comes into your head, you've ruined everything. That's unique to Karbanos. And, because it's the same thing, by Tefillas. If you don't have Kavanah in your Tefillah, you're not Yotzi, just pushing the Yotzi. You don't have good. That's unique to Karbanos and Tefillah, because I'm telling you, Tefillah is just like Korban, so to speak, Korban light or Korban extension, or we call them Karbanos in a way. But the same thing as Karbanos. So the same thing's going on over here. The same way that the structure of the tefillas are considered to be Shacharit and Maariv, because that's like the daylight Karbanos and the Kavanah business. So it's parallel in the Karbanos, and I think the reason why. That's the din, period, Nikudah. Now why should it be? So I think, everything I said up to now is for sure true, and you don't even need to say it, anyone can say it. What I'm saying now, Joel Padowitz speculation. Why should it be that we look at this, the Shemona Esrei as being in the middle of your day and not, saying this kind of scenario? So I think the reason why is for the very same reason why you find your siddur, that it starts out with Shacharis. It's not, the reason why your siddur starts with Shacharis is because the human psychology is the day it's beginning, you turn to page, Aleph, and there you want Modani. You'd be very irritated. If every day you got to bed, you have to, turn, page 162 to read Shacharis because they had Maariv and Kriya Shema-Tefila. That's insane. Why is it insane? That's the din, but that's not how psychologically we function. The way we function psychologically is the day starts when you get up in the morning. Even if it's not that's true, that's how our psychology is. I think, this is Joel Padowitz speculative talking here, that what we're taught, the same way your kavanas matter, and the same way it's the same thing, that it's the avodah shebalev, when you're davening, all that matters, so to speak, is your psychology. Like the action is meaningless except in the context of your psychological framework. And if you're thinking about something else that has, or you're not thinking about anything, that has direct impact on undermining your tefillah. Like what is tefillah if not reorienting yourself, like I said a moment ago, like you're Hashem and I need you and I love you, and like if it's not that, if you're just reading words out of a siddur, then you're not davening b'chlal.
You're not talking to him.
Yeah, like it's like Isha Misaperes and Bala, that thing that you're just saying words out of a siddur. That's nice, but it's not praying. It's just saying words out of a siddur. You're talking to the sky.
So the requirement is to know that you're davening to Hashem.
That's the minimum requirement.
The minimum requirement.
Yeah,
and
then the first paragraph you have to cover out the actual words. To be honest.
The meaning of the words, or
meaning of the words.
The meaning of the words.
Yeah, that's now we're talking like the halakha of Ma'aseh. Halakha of Ma'aseh. You have to just know that you're talking to Hashem, and that the first paragraph you have to have kavanah of the word. After that, if you're wandering, you're still yodel.
First pasuk. No?
The first Shemona Esrei. The first brachot of Shemona Esrei.
Ah,
I'm talking about Shemona Esrei. I'm not talking about Shema.
Okay.
Shema is different.
Okay.
Shema is different, but it seems that they're even Shema. By the way, it says "V'shach b'chal v'kumecha," when I come before day. Because Shema is something else. Shema is something else. Shema is not the avodah shebalev. It's not. We have not seen.
It's a declaration.
We have not. I hope this is true. We have not seen any suggestion that there's any connection whatsoever between Shema and Shemona Esrei. There's any connection like that in our sugyas, any sugyas so far, right?
So much Geula and Tefila.
That's what I was wondering. But the truth is not saying that. In fact, it's just saying, well, there were masakim brachas around Shema, and it's going to work out then that your bracha after Shema is the Gal Yisrael.
Right.
But it's not connected. They're two unrelated things. We haven't seen any relationship whatsoever. And anything, I kept on emphasizing, it's not even nighttime, it's bedtime. Because of like what's normal, social norm. There's two unrelated things.
It's connecting one to the other because there are two unconnected things.
Oh, Gal Yisrael.
It requires some kind of a connection.
Right.
If it was one thing, it would be all one
Correct,
thing.
they're not connected, exactly.
So it's a proof.
But we'll see some perhaps tenuous connections also, and we'll discuss them when we come around to them. But they're tenuous and indirect. There's no. When you think of Maariv, you shouldn't think of the Shema and its brother, Shemona Esrei, this like inseparable team, which isn't really true. What's happening is there are two unrelated things happening. Loosely, let's say unrelated things for our purposes here. There's this Shema thing you have to say every night, and there's this Shemona Esrei thing you have to do every night. And well, once you're saying things, we'll put them in the siddur together. And they made brachas, and made Gal Yisrael, connecting it, and so on. But they're two. The same way, by the way, like when you say Kriya Shema in the morning, just to take a jump, or even the nighttime for that matter. When you say Kriya Shema in the nighttime, so you have to say that third paragraph, even though it's probably not a mitzvah d'oraisa of Kriya Shema, but you have to say the third paragraph to remember Yitzis Mitzrayim. Like, remembering Yitzis Mitzrayim in the night, the Leilos, like we'll see in the parak also. That's nothing to do with Kriya Shema, or nothing to do with Shemona Esrei or anything. It's just like, it's another mitzvah in the day, you have to remember Yitzis Mitzrayim every night. So we'll like stuff it in there, because now you're doing your declarations, we'll put Shema in there, we'll put Yitzis Mitzrayim in there, we'll put Shemona Esrei in there. It's like, it's like a machzor, but they're not connected ideas directly.
You don't have Kriya Shema from Mincha either.
No from Mincha at all, exactly right. So that's my suggestion. My suggestion is, the reason why he can say without blushing, like, the Shemona Esreis are the Emtza, Tiknum, when like, it's not the middle of the day, it's not ordered like that, is because A, that is how Avoda is, period. The Avoda does go from morning to night. B, that's how Shemona Esrei parallels your avoda. It is avoda shebalev. It's from Kom, the karbanos, the base English. And see that the why that should be. I'm suggesting is because the same way the Navi says like, let's either I don't need your karbanos. I don't need your karbanos. It's only because that you want to connect to Hashem that offering this dead sheep is significant. What does Hashem need a dead sheep for? So it's only true with the words also. Like you're busy thinking about your shopping and saying Hashem, you're so great. Like, what does that do for Hashem? Nothing. Even when you mean it, doesn't do anything for Hashem. So for sure, you don't mean it, what does it do for nothing for anybody? No point in it. So I'm suggesting that the reason why the siddur is structured the way and the tefillah is all about your psychology. It's all about what's going on inside your head. It's about a shebalev, where your heart is. That's the development strategy. And therefore, when the question is, what about Shema in the middle of the day? The answer is no, it isn't, because when it comes to avoda, the middle of the day is the three Shemona Esreis, and there's a Shema bookending in terms of your avoda shebalev on either side. There's a Shema, according to Rabbi Shimon Levi, There's like, let's say frames your day in terms of being Yach Hashem Shemayim, whatever that is. Those are my words on this. But the point is, the Shemona Esrei they were established in the middle of your day around these two declarations of Shema. That's his understanding. Okay, good. Good. We said important things. Yeah.
We see that the Seder goes according to Shacharit first, because Avraham Avinu was Masach in Shacharit, and that's what was created first, and then
gets up in the morning and
Maariv.
Right.
So
exactly. That's the other. The machlokas is that the
historically speaking.
No, but it's the same. I think it's a reflection of the same idea. Like, so to speak, the avos who are going to order one sequential and another, but also like they're human beings like us. So maybe that's where it ends like us. But the point is, like they're also their avodah begins in the morning. Like so, Avram was like, okay, my day is beginning. Not even if maybe. There's a big to do. I should point out to you about. Period. Okay, I'm saying a new topic here. I don't want to get into so much now, but there is a lot of discussion if the days before Yetzias Mitzrayim, like before the Jews went out, if the halachic day, let's call it, began the day or began the night. I don't get into it so much now. It would have impact by Goyim, because Goyim wouldn't be impacted the same way Jews were in Yetzias Mitzrayim, and you might need it. There's many terutzim. There's 50 days, a count of 50 days from Yetzias Mitzrayim to Mamre Har Sinai, and if you start counting, it's like something you're missing. So like some of the terutzim involve the transition from day beginning in the morning to day beginning at night before. Anyways, there is a discussion about that. In other words, meaning that if you go on to that, then Avram Avinu and Yitzchak and Yaakov Avinu were anyways like the pre-Yetzias Mitzrayim. Maybe they were operating in that framework also. But either way, the point is I think their basic psychology is the day begins in the morning. So Avram got up and went out to like the place where he stood. That's what Avram does as an Oved Hashem. And we too start our day in psychological terms by getting into bed in the morning. Let's start our day by going to bed at night, which is what, like, technically what's happening. Right? Because the night begins at dinner time. Good. I guess any other questions on this? We're moving on to a whole new world. Yeah, we said a lot today. Baruch Hashem. Okay. So, rolling on Daf Daled, Amud Beis. Now, there was a mimer that we had on line 34, which said, Kol Omer Tila David Shalosh Pam B'cholim Shalosh Pamim. You say what we call Ashrei 3 times a day. Muftach Shukan Olam Haba. I discussed the Rosh Skirt and others are going to have the 3 times. Doesn't matter. We discussed that and we're moving on from there. But the point is that Memra on line 34 was says in the name of Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Avina, and actually many of yourselves want to put it as Rabbi Elazar Bar Avina. Maybe you see it there, like if you probably know in your Gemorah that says that on the side in my Gemorah. The reason why is because we're on line 40 by the 2 dots, and there's another totally, unconnected mimer here, which starts out with Rabbi Elazar Bar Avina. So it stands to reason that the only reason it's here is because this same person, Rabbi Elazar Bar Avina, had said something, a few lines up. In my Gemorah, I don't know if I told this or not, to mark these things off, I put them in diamonds. Like I put a diamond around Rabbi Elazar Bar Avina and Rabbi Elazar Bar Avina. And the Gersa probably makes them up Bar Avina. It's just so I can see the connection. Otherwise, there's no other connection. In any case, so here, since we're talking about Rabbi Elazar Bar Avina, he said this also. Gadol ma shenemar b'Michael, so I am on line 40, 2 dots. Gadol ma shenemar b'Michael, Yosef ma shenemar b'Gavriel. That which was said about the angel Michael is greater than that which was said about Gavriel. This is weird. I don't know, that's what it is. What? Because when it comes to Michael, Ksiv, V'yaf Elai, this is Yeshaya speaking. So he says, V'yaf Elai, Echad min Serafim. One of the, a Seraph is like a super high angel, and Michael and Gabriel are like on the top of the angel pile, more or less. Anyways, so V'yaf is like flap, like an oaf flaps his wings. I don't know a better word because I don't know what angels look like or what they do. But in any case, in his vision, they had wings and they're moving with that. So the point is, in one flutter of the wings, so to speak, he arrived at Yeshaya. Gabi Gavriel, notice there's no mention actually of Michal. It just says Echad min Sarafim, one of the Sarafim came. Gabi Gavriel, when it came to the Saraf, the angel of Gavriel, Ksiv Va'ish Gavriel Asher Re'isi B'Chazon, the angel Gavriel that I saw in the vision. But Tchila Mu'af Bi'af Gemorah, that he like a two, the double lashon, flapped his wings, so to speak. So you see that in like one flutter of the wings, Michal arrives on the scene, but it takes two flaps of Gavriel, meaning Gavriel has to stop somewhere in the middle. So you see Michal is greater because he can do it in one flap, and the Gavriel needs two flaps. But not okay. Without saying whatever the heck that's supposed to mean, the Gemorah just, which doesn't do, the Gemorah just bothered by something technical. It says my mashma the high echad Michalu. If you look at the pasuk on line 41 that talks about the Michal pasuk, all it said is Vaya'af Elai Echad min Sarafim. One of the Sarafim flapped my way. Now, or flapped to me. But there's no mention of Michal. So who says that's Michal at all? Amr Yochanan Asya Echad. It's learned out from Kriya Shema-Tefila. I don't discuss what that is now either if you don't know what it is, but the point is the word Echad in two different psukim suggests that the same Echad, the same one, it's called capital O1, so to be not Hashem, but the same one that we referenced in this pasuk is the same one in that pasuk. Now, the pronoun one refers to the same thing twice. Ksiv hacha, in our pasuk it just says V'ya'af elai echad min Sarafim. Good old echad, the Saraf came to me. Ksiv hasam, in the other pasuk it says Bina Michal echad hasrafim. Again, Michal is called the ones, I don't know, one of the Sarafim. Again, the echad again. Harishonim, Balaz, or any of that came to help me. But the point is, that other pasuk refers to Michal as Echad. So we see when we talk about Echad of the Sarafim, we're referring to Michal. That's the Geula Shava. That's the drasha that shows that when Yeshaya said one of them Sarafim, he was referring to Michal Davka.
There's a note here that says that Michal comes in one flight because he's giving Rachman.
Oh! First of all, I'm not open to questions. That's a good question. So, comments. But well, I'm getting there. So 1 second. I'm just saying the words first. Right? This is what I thought of. So yes. So now let's yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. No, yeah, good. But yeah. So. So 1 second. Want to stop there or not? Yeah. Okay. Period. It's called a period over there. So that's what the Gemorah said. The Gemorah has to say for itself that what the Navi has to say about Michal is greater than what he has to say about Gavriel, because Michal is greater than Gavriel. So, what? So, Michal is greater because whatever he has, as an angel, whatever angels do, he can do it like immediately. When Hashem sends out Michal, he's there. When it comes to Gavriel, he has to stop once in the middle. Before he does, he has to go somewhere, stop halfway, not literally halfway necessarily, stop on the way, and then like a second, start up again to get where he has to go. So there's a delayed reaction. So when Gavriel is sent out on his dispatch to do his angelic mission, he doesn't act immediately, there's a delay.
Is Michal associated with the right hand?
Yes. So now, this is like, you have to look like Kisvei Rizal to get this now. But the Michal is associated with the right hand or with water, mine, and he is the Chesed, right is Chesed. He is the Chesed Malach, Rachman Malach, and Gavriel is also the left hand is the Gevurah. Gavriel is the hand. Gavriel, with din, carrying out the din. So, the Pasha meaning here is that when Hashem sends, remember Hashem always acts when he does stuff down here. We discussed that already not so long ago. Discussed a lot already. So he has like this intermediary thing called the angel that does its bidding. So when Hashem is sending out, a good shlichus, good vibes, good message, a good job to be done, that's something that's motivated from Hashem's chesed, comes from the right side, from Rachamim. So then it's immediate, like so to speak. It happens fast. There's no delay. Like we discussed, Shem Yigur Machek. There's no opportunity for that, so to speak. Hashem wants to give, so he gives good right away. When it comes to Gavriel, so obviously that means like bad news is coming. Din, someone is falling short of where they were expected, and now, din means conception. What din means is that there are rules, right? Din means like there's like purely abstractly. There's like there are rules, there are borders, there are lines you can't cross. If you run into a wall, it's going to hurt. Like the Rachman says, there's some wiggle room. Before you get zapped. But din is at some point you cross a line, the zap's going to come. So when Gavriel is dispatched, it means now like the zap is on its way. People have crossed the line, the conceptual line. So the point here is that he doesn't go like a blink of an eye, so to speak, in one flap of the wings. He goes part way, and then there's like a rest. I don't know, it's conceptual, but in other words, there's a pause, giving a person that much longer, however long the pause is, that much longer to do tshuva and avert the carrying out of the din, because Hashem wants people to do tshuva. That's the meaning here. I think that's just straightforward meaning. That's the straightforward meaning like anybody who knows any of this kind of stuff would read it and understand that. That's what's going on here. But it's a reference to Michal acts faster because he's out of Hashem's chesed, and Gavriel acts less immediately in his mission because he's coming from Hashem's din. Hashem wants to give people time to do tshuva. That's the message over here of this Gemorah. Okay? Now it gets a little stranger, to be honest. Tana, I have a braita. So the braita exists, I'm going to speak it out here. This braita exists in a vacuum. Like it's being brought here because we had a memra of Amar B'Elazar bar Ravina. But this braita isn't coming directly to address what he said, to explain what he said, to modify what he said. It's its own braita lurking in the encyclopedia of rabbinic statements that lurked about, so to speak. And it's being brought here because it's on topic. But don't look at it as you have to look at it its own merits. That's all I'm saying. Tana, it says in a braita, Michal ba'achas, Michal in one. So we know what that in one means. It means in one flap of his wings, as seen in the pasuk in Yeshaya, because he acts immediately. But Gavriel b'shtayim, Gavriel two flaps, and Gavriel stops once along the way. Right? Well, stop. I think the best way to understand this Gemorah. Oh, whatever. Fine. Gavriel in two takes two. It doesn't say what. Two flaps. Eliyahu, that's Eliyahu Navi, ba'arba. He comes in four. I don't know if he's flapping his wings, but he's comes in four, whatever they are.
He's a malach?
He's not a malach. No, he's not a malach. But anyways, but he's on the list here. And the malach hamaves, whatever he is, Bishmona, he comes in eight. Eight what? It's not clear what he's doing. But I don't know if it's flapping wings anymore because Eliyahu Navi is not a wing flapping creature. Yeah. So it comes in, that's what I'm saying. You can't look at it. You're in the wing flapping. That's my comment before. Because you were reading a pasuk before about flapping wings, so to speak. So then you're in wing flapping mindset, but your mind is primed for that. But the truth is, the braita makes no mention of that. It just says Michal comes in one something, and Gavriel comes in two somethings, and the Eliyahu comes in four somethings, and Melech Mavis comes in eight somethings. They may not be the same things that they're coming in. Okay. In any case, the Melech Mavis comes in eight. Ubishasa Megeifa, but in a time of, Megeifa is like a plague. But the point is, a Megeifa is something, like hashkafically, it doesn't just mean like, bird flu is on the loose. It doesn't mean that. It means like that there's a certain kind of chaos going on. Like Hashem is saying, like there's a din on the klal, and like whoever gets it gets it. It's not like the whole group.
Not individual.
The group has been ruled that they're now are going to get it until they stop. You see Megeiphas in the Torah. So the chaos that exists, meaning whatever is unique, whatever the eight are that arbitrates whether a person dies, there's none of that happening in the Megeifa. It's whoever gets it gets. There's none of that eight happening. It's immediate. No 7 delays along the way. Okay. Period. That's another braita. Just another weird braita. So Michal and Gavriel have nothing more to say. I said it already. It's the same shot as before. As far as Eliyahu, I have no idea what the pshat is here. I'm sorry to tell you. I looked around a lot. The Marsha says something, but what he says I do not understand. You have to look at it yourself. He starts talking about that Michal is through the yesod of whatever that even means. That I can't bother translating it. Through the yesod of Mayim, and Gavriel is the yesod of Eish. But Eliyahu Navi is the 4 yesodos, also Afar and Avir, wind and fire. And so he has to do 4 instead of just 1 or 2. Ayin show. That's all he says really. Nothing more to ayin over there. You can see that's all he says. What that means, I don't know. You have to ask someone on the result to understand what that's talking about. I don't know. And no one says it. Like that huge shelf of books I went through all of them. No one said anything. So I don't know what it's talking about. As far as the Malach HaMavis goes, besides this notion of Keres by one versus in general, so I saw the Gra something really interesting, which I think is worth mentioning. The Gra says that there are 8 reasons why a person dies, right? And this is very tied with the Malach Mavis. So the way you should look at it, as Rashi should have described, is by Michal is you can look at it as like there are 8 things happening, or there's 7 stops. Same as like, yeah, fine. So the Gra says that there are 8 reasons why a person dies. He says one of them is the Chet of Arisha, like if nothing else, everyone's going to die. Or he says there are 7 bad midos that ends up killing a person. Those bad midos are taiva, for food, let's say, or whatever, gaiva, arrogance, kina, jealousy, sinas of rios, hating people if they generally are miserable human beings, other human beings, not liking people is difficult. Taivas nashim, chasing after women. Kamtsanos, which is like stinginess, miserliness. Many chazals talk about like the virtues of being a bal tzedakah and being generous that will nourish your life. The person with the kamtsan was like stingy, miserly. That's a reason for death all by its own. And finally, he in the Gra's writings he always combines atzlus and atzlut and atzvut. There's one, like 2 sides of the same nasty demon. Atzlut means like laziness. Atzvut means like depression. He looks at the 2 sides of the same coin. Like a person who's like unmotivated because he's sort of depressed, and they're sort of depressed makes them unmotivated. It's like the same thing. So he says those 7 deadly sins. What do the Catholics call them? I don't know. So anyways, those are the 7 deadly sins according to the Gra. So it's those 7 plus the Adoration's primordial sin, which is going to get everybody. So hopefully it'll be just Chet of Adoration. The Gemorah says only 4 people died because of Adoration's Chet. The rest had their own Chatan that to pay for. In any case, so he says that's why the Malach HaMavis has 7 names, if there's such a Gemorah like that, and that's why the Gehenna has 7 like levels, because this is the whole thing. The Malach HaMavis somehow works in this like 7+1 phenomenon, and that's what he from other Gemorahs and other whatever Kabbalah stuff. But that's a reference over here that the Malach HaMavis comes to one of 8 ways, except when there's a Megefa, then whoever's in the Megefa can just get called out. And that's that. Okay, that's what the Gemara say for itself, as far as I understand it, as far as what I saw. So you can ask your questions, but I'm not going to be able to answer them. If you have any questions on this. Yeah.
Then you said Gavriel is bin. So it seems that he's somehow related to Malach HaMavis and Megefa. I mean, it seems like they all work together.
Believe it or not, I don't think Gavriel and Malach HaMavis, I don't think they're connected. The Yetzer Hara and Malach HaMavis and Esav, they're connected. The Malach HaMavis is something else. I mean, yeah, something else. I mean, your point is, see, din is not.
But he's like the
Din can be
prosecutor,
good.
and then there's the judge.
Din is boundaries.
It's something very generic. Yeah, it's like I mean, I understand what you're asking me. I'm just trying to think if I can like explain it in a clear and like short amount of time. I don't think I can. Usually it means you don't really understand something. You can't explain that in a short amount of time. But I mean, Hashem does lots of things. Let's put it like that. And so, not everything is coming. If you don't like it, it's coming from Gavriel. If you like it, it's coming from Michal. It's not like that. But when Hashem is enforcing, like Hashem has a Haga where he sometimes, like there's a Rashi that I'm sure you see in the beginning of Brachot there, in the beginning of Bereshis, and it says because the pasuk puts together Elokim and Hashem back to back in the very Perek base of Brachot. It says so why Perek Hey, I think. Mishnah, I think it's base Hey, I think, or base Dalet. It says, so the Rashi asks, based on the Midrash, how come like there's Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the Racham name, and Elokim, the Din name, put together? It says, Al Machshavto, Hashem wanted, I'm not 1,000% sure that's the exact Lashon, Al Machshavto is the Lashon over there, or not, but Hashem wanted to make the world with Din, but he still couldn't be Mitkayem, so he tempered it with the Racham. That's what the Rashi says. It's like, that's its own weird story. So what that means is, in brief, that Hashem wants the world to be very like, a tzaddik wants justice, and he wants to get what he deserves and nothing more. That was like Yaakovino and so on. But he said, I don't want that. You want to be your own man, the whole purpose of existence is to justify your existence and be a ben olam haba and make your own olam haba. And at the end of the day, there's no such thing as charity. You borrow, you have to pay back. So the tzaddik wants exactly his and nothing more. Hence, like, even the pachim katanim, the tzaddik are significant. Whatever you have, those are your kelim, whatever, not yours, you don't want, and so on. So etc. So ideally Hashem would want like the world to be perfect strict justice, which is the most fair thing and the best thing for everybody. The problem is, if so to speak, everything you got on a line, conceptually, you got electrocuted and dropped down dead, so like, civilization wouldn't get off the ground. People would make too many mistakes too quick, and no one would get to the finish line. You need time to ramp up, to get used to keeping Hashem's rules and being with Kavanah. It takes time. So he gave like wiggle room. So he tempered din with Rachman, saying, "I'll give you time." In other words, so if a person crosses the line, and he's now got, as the way that the Chovos Levavos describes it, he basically says, in terms of doing tshuva, he says, like, you basically got this is my words, but he says you've got a freight train of Vera, like now you're on the train track and the freight train is coming. There's no escaping it. It's coming to get you. Just that, you can untie yourself and free yourself if you do tshuva with you down there. But otherwise, that train is going to run you over. It's just a matter of time. Like now you're tied yourself to the tracks and it's just a matter of time. So the same kind of thing, the Rachlim isn't, din's, the world is ultimately governed by din, by justice. And if you do an Avera, the freight train is coming. Nukudah. Nothing can stop it. Either here or there, it's coming to get you. But Hashem didn't let you get electrocuted the second you cross the line. He said, okay, there must be a freight train coming in an hour or coming in Yom Misa. And that will give you enough time to extricate yourself and do tshuva in the meantime. So it's din tempered by Rachman because it's still strict justice. Din, the freight train is coming. But there's enough Rachman, like mercy, that you can, Hashem will do it on the moment to give you time to get yourself out of trouble. So those are the two primary ways which Hashem functions, like din and then justice, give people time to. Din and rachman. So death isn't necessarily in that paradigm. Death is because it's time for you to go. It's not a punishment. It's not that you. There's ultimately, I guess, Adam Rishon was told he would die. So justice says everyone has to die, but that's not an expression of Hashem's justice. Because your assumption, I'm answering your question directly now. Your question was, wait a second, if the Malach is killing people, that seems like the kind of thing that Gavriel will do because he's carrying out din. I'm just saying, ignoring that issue of everyone has to die because of Adam Rishon, people don't die because they crossed the line. People don't die because they die because everyone dies. That's the way the world works. And the Malach job is to carry out that unhung up existence. It's not an expression of Hashem's din, like now you've been a bad boy or good boy. That's something else. There's an overlay that goes on. And din will play itself out after you die, so to speak, or before in your lifetime. But the actual, when you die and how you die, that isn't necessarily Hashem acting out din on you, it's just, that's Hashem in action. The reason why it's complicated beyond that is because obviously we believe that nothing happens for no good reason, and everything's just, and midah k'neged midah. So there is din playing in how it's carried out. But the same way, I don't know, Raphael carries out healing. It's just artistic. So that's his job. It's good, that's an expression of kindness, but it's his own, that's something very general. That's a very specific job to listen to. So same Malach Mavis has a job to do, which is to kill people or attempt them to die, whatever the story is, and take them on, and then it's a sub-angel. Okay, anyways.
I always look at the number 7, Olam Hazeh, and number 8 is Olam Haba. It's above time and space. So it's taking us back to above time and space.
Is it inappropriate to call someone Gavriel? Is that
No.
like a melech?
It's minutes come away, right? People do it. Do what people do. You can ask for Scheinberg. Remember Scheinberg? Kanievsky, he's the one who's always very nervous. The famous story, someone asked about Shira. Shira's not a name.
Shira's not
famous. That's his famous story about him. But anyways, people call Gavriel, so they're called Gavriel.
What's the story about Shira?
I'm not good with stories, but the story of the Bekitzer was someone asked about Shira. I guess they people who were nervous, nervous. We have a strong Masorah that the name has an implication on the mazel of the person, and then fine. So the question was, so many people check the name with the Rav before they name the child. Certainly by Sfardim, very widespread in Ashkenazim to some degree. Anyways, yay or nay, that's all my point. The point is that someone went to ask Kanievsky about the name Shira, I guess with the Gematria Shira, I don't know what he was thinking, but his response was, Shira, that's not a name. Because if you look in there's a halachas by Gittin, how to spell people's names, Jewish names, Shira's not there. Shira's not a Jewish name. I mean, you can call her Penelope also while you're at it, but it's not. It's not a Jewish name. So he was saying Shiri might as well call her Penelope. It doesn't, it's not a Jewish name.
And
To me, it's funny to me in as much as, but like because Shiri is a very common Jewish name, it's not a traditional Jewish name. But I think Gavriel is a common Jewish name. So like
Ashira.
I don't know.
No, there are some Ashira also.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. It's all the same story. Yes or no. But in any case, so Gavriel is a fun name to call. And so we'll stop there and tomorrow we'll pick the next one.
Cool.
Now we need the video because I didn't record the